My father went for a walk Tuesday morning and simply vanished.
She signed the report with practiced calm, unaware that a Coast Guard alert was already crossing the airwaves.
Coast Guard Sector Charleston. We have a missing person report on a Captain Robert Thornton. Any vessel transponder matching, respond.
200 miles offshore, the 38-foot Beneteau sliced through deep blue water, its captain completely unaware.
Perfect wind. Clean wake. This is why I retired.
Then the VHF lit up with a hail that didn't belong on a pleasure cruise. Robert grabbed the handset, his smirk fading into something sharper.
This is the sailing vessel Windfall. Go ahead, Coast Guard.
Captain Thornton, we've received a report you're missing. Are you and your vessel safe?
Robert looked at Brian, who was at the helm, then back at the approaching cutter. The silence on the radio grew sharp.
Coast Guard, Windfall copies. We are safe on board. Who filed that report?
A family member reported you missing, Captain. We're closing the case. Safe sailing.
The Coast Guard cutter swung away, its wake churning a white scar across the blue. Robert watched it shrink, jaw tight.
What just happened? Why would anyone report you missing?
I didn't tell my daughter I was bringing company. She thought I'd be out here alone.
You think someone back home did this on purpose?
I don't know yet, but I intend to find out. We're heading back. No radio calls home.
They turned the bow toward land without a single hail to shore. The silence between them was heavy with unspoken names.
Someone wanted me declared missing, and that someone is back on shore, waiting.
200 miles away, in a marina filing cabinet, a missing person form held a signature still barely dry. Dawn broke over the Atlantic, the boat still on a shoreward tack. Below in the cramped salon, Brian finally found words.
I never told you the full story, Robert. Pamela didn't just leave me, she erased me. One day I came home and the locks were changed. She'd filed an emergency custody order, allegations I never saw coming.
Robert leaned against the companionway, his coffee going cold. He didn't interrupt.
She told the court I was unstable, a danger. No proof, but she had a good lawyer. I lost everything. Rights, home, my boys. I slept in my truck for 3 months. When you called, I was staying at a shelter in Charleston.
This is the woman who raised my grandchildren. The same woman who just reported me missing.
You inviting me aboard, I don't know how to thank you. It's the first good thing in 3 years.
You're a good man, Brian. I'm glad you're here. But I need to know more about the allegations. All of it.
Outside, the wind picked up sharply. Robert stared at the horizon, the shape of his daughter warping into something he barely recognized. In a sleek apartment across town, Pamela Thornton's phone buzzed with a Coast Guard case closure notification.
This is Pamela Thornton. You found my father? Thank God. I've been frantic.
The officer gave details. Vessel located safely, captain and 1 male passenger aboard.
A male passenger. He said he'd sail alone. That's Brian. That has to be Brian.
She forced a smile for the officer on the line, thanked him, and hung up. Then her expression hardened.
It's Pamela. The probate hearing. I need you to file the emergency motion today. He'll be back sooner than we planned. I don't care if it raises eyebrows. This boat is mine. Move it before he steps foot on the dock.
Across the line, her lawyer hesitated, sensing the sharp edge in her voice.
Just do it. I'm not losing that Beneteau.
She set the phone down and stared at the framed photo of the sailboat on her coffee table, her knuckles white. The sailors trimmed the sails in wordless rhythm, the Atlantic shrinking behind them.
I need to tell you why I really asked you aboard, Brian.
I assumed it was just a chance to sail. You didn't have to explain.
Something about the divorce never sat right with me. The version Pamela gave was too clean. The dates didn't line up. The accusations were vague. I started watching, filing things away.
He had never confronted her directly, but his quiet scrutiny was relentless.
When I planned this sail, I thought about who would benefit if I disappeared for weeks.
You think someone close to you might have?
I don't know yet, but when we dock, I'm going to the marina office alone. If there's a paper trail, I want to see it first.
The coast was a thin green line ahead. Robert's hand tightened on the wheel. Somewhere in those offices, answers waited. While the windfall cut through the last miles, Pamela's lawyer was already filing a new document at the county probate court. The emergency motion claimed Robert Thornton was of diminished mental capacity and under the undue influence of a dangerous third party.
Brian will be labeled the threat. Perfect. By the time Daddy returns, the boat will be mine.
The judge, pushed by the urgency of a missing person case, granted an expedited hearing in 3 days.
The hearing is set. Start preparing to take possession of the Beneteau.
She clicked off the call and allowed herself a cold smile. The paperwork was now faster than any sailboat.
3 days. He won't even make it back in time to object. And even if he does, he'll look like a confused old man.
The probate clock had started. A legal noose was tightening around a man still at sea. Pamela set down her phone and stared at the framed photo of the sailboat, but now her expression was one of victory. 300 miles away, Robert knew nothing of the trap already sprung in his name. At Coast Guard Sector Charleston, Officer Reyes reviewed the closed missing person case file. The reporting party was listed as a daughter, but the vessel's passenger was an ex-son-in-law she hadn't mentioned.
A false report wastes resources and puts lives at risk. This needs a closer look.
He flagged the case for potential false reporting and forwarded it to the sector's legal officer.
If that report was deliberate, someone's going to answer for it.
200 miles south, the windfall closed in on the marina breakwater, dusk painting the sky burnt orange.
I'll stay below when we dock. You find out what's waiting for us.
Good. I'll go straight to the office. If anyone asks, I haven't been here yet.
The boat glided into the channel, navigation lights blinking against the darkening water. Robert's jaw set as he saw the marina office lights. Answers were inside, and the weight of the last 3 days pressed hard. Robert pushed open the marina office door, a small bell chiming overhead.
Captain Thornton? Good Lord, we had a missing person report on you. Are you all right?
I'm fine, Linda. I was offshore. What report? Let me see the file.
It was filed 3 days ago. A woman came in, said you vanished from a walk. She was very upset.
Show me.
Linda hesitated, then pulled a folder from the cabinet and placed it on the counter between them.
3 days. The same day I sailed. She knew I wouldn't be here to stop it.
I'm just glad you're safe. The Coast Guard called and closed it, but I kept the paperwork.
Robert slid the folder closer but didn't open it yet. He could hear the clock ticking above the door.
Thank you, Linda. I'll handle it from here.
Robert opened the folder. The top sheet was the missing person form, typed and stamped. The date jumped out at him. Reporting party, Pamela Thornton. Relationship, daughter. Last seen, departing marina on foot, Tuesday morning.
Her own handwriting. She filed it the morning I left. It wasn't a mistake.
Stapled beneath it was a second document. A probate petition, dated the same week. In the event of Robert Thornton's disappearance or death, the vessel Beneteau transfers solely to Pamela Thornton.
She wanted the boat before I even got back. The missing report was just the opening move.
Robert pulled out his phone and photographed both pages, his hands steady but his jaw locked tight. He closed the folder and tucked it under his arm. Turning toward the door, Linda watched him stride out, the question dying on her lips. He walked toward the dock, folder tight, face cold as the night sea. Robert reached the slip where the windfall was tied. Brian was waiting in the cockpit, his face tense.
What did you find? Your face says it's bad.
She filed the report herself, and there's a probate petition attached. Look.
Brian stared at the screen, his expression crumbling as he read the documents.
She's trying to claim the boat if anything happens to you? And there's a hearing?
Emergency hearing, day after tomorrow. She gave herself just enough time to make it impossible to stop.
What do we do?
I'm seeing my attorney at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll put the boat in a trust that she can't touch.
I'll back you any way I can. This is my fight too.
They stood in the darkness, the boat creaking softly against the dock. Robert's mind was already 10 steps ahead, cold and calculating. The next morning, Robert walked into a wood-paneled law office before the downtown traffic even started.
I need a trust that locks my boat away from anyone who claims I'm unfit or missing.
He set his phone on the desk, the probate petition and missing person form glowing on the screen. The attorney looked at the documents, then at Robert's expression. He didn't need to ask if it was real.
We can draft an irrevocable maritime trust, naming co-trustees who aren't you. Who did you have in mind? Brian Cassidy, my former son-in-law, and his 2 children. They're the ones who should use the boat. And I want it filed before the emergency probate hearing tomorrow. Can we do that?
The attorney nodded, already pulling up a template on his computer. The printer hummed to life.
Good. Because if my daughter gets that boat, it won't be because we waited.
By the time Robert left, the trust draft was taking shape. The legal battlefield was about to shift. Across town, Brian sat at a small cafe, staring at a coffee he hadn't touched.
The trust is being drafted, Brian. You and your boys are listed as trustees.
Our boys, you're giving them rights to the boat?
Brian's voice cracked. He set the cup down, his fingers trembling.
I haven't been allowed to see them in 2 years. Is this really going to work?
It's airtight. Her false report and probate petition are already in evidence. The truth will hold.
Then I'm in. They need to see their father stand up for them. I'll bring them to the hearing.
Robert nodded once. Tomorrow you walk in with your boys. We show up as family.
I'll call my sister tonight. She's been keeping them safe. They'll be there.
The morning light through the cafe window seemed warmer. In Brian's eyes, something that had been missing for 2 years flickered back to life. The next morning, a courier handed Pamela a certified envelope from the county probate court. Notice of hearing, in the matter of the Thornton Family Trust.
Family trust. They've repackaged the probate. Doesn't matter. It's still my boat. I'll wear the navy suit. Judges love a grieving daughter done right.
She smoothed the jacket, practiced a demure expression in the mirror, and smiled. Across town, Robert sat in his attorney's office as the final trust document was set before him. He read each clause slowly, then signed his name with a steady hand.
That should hold. Tomorrow, the real hearing starts.
The notary stamped the page, and the trust was sealed. Pamela set her court heels by the door, while Robert stored the trust in his safe. They walked toward the same courtroom, carrying opposite assumptions. The county courthouse gleamed under a mid-morning sun. Pamela Thornton walked up the stone steps, navy suit crisp, her expression a mask of rehearsed grief. Inside, the courtroom was already half-filled. Robert Thornton sat at the petitioner's table, his back straight, a folder of documents before him.
Perfect. The old man actually thinks he can fight this.
She slid into the respondent's chair, confident, and adjusted her collar like a photographer setting a shot. Then the heavy doors at the back swung wide, and the entire room shifted. Brian Cassidy walked in, a young boy at each hand, 2 dust-haired children with their father's eyes.
No, not him. Not with my children. What is he doing here? You said he couldn't.
The children looked toward their mother, but Pamela's face was stone. Brian guided them to a front-row seat, his jaw set. A door beside the bench opened. All rose. Judge Morrison entered, her robe sweeping the floor, and the hearing began. Robert Thornton took the witness stand, his hand steady on the Bible. He faced the courtroom like a man who had done this before.
Your Honor, I am Robert Thornton, and I'm here to stop a fraud against my own vessel. These documents tell the story.
Robert handed the court the missing person form and the attached probate petition. The judge leaned forward, reading slowly.
That report was filed by my daughter, Pamela Thornton, while I was 200 miles offshore. She knew I was sailing, not missing.
The probate request, dated the same week, named her sole heir to the boat in the event of my disappearance or death.
Objection. This is a smear. My father is clearly confused, and that man...
Overruled. The documents speak for themselves. Please continue, Mr. Thornton.
I have photos of the original filings, time-stamped. She planned to claim my boat before I even returned.
Pamela's face drained as the evidence spread across the bench. The judge's frown deepened, and the courtroom held its breath. The bailiff marked the documents as exhibits. The record was now public, and Pamela Thornton's scheme had nowhere left to hide. The court clerk called Brian Cassidy to the stand. He rose from the gallery, his children's eyes following. He swore to tell the truth, his voice unsteady but his posture firm.
Your Honor, I was kept from my children for 2 years, by false allegations by that woman.
He described the changed locks, the emergency custody order, the 3 months in his truck.
Robert saw the truth when no one else would. This trust means I can rebuild, be a father again.
He's twisting everything. He was never fit to be around them.
Ms. Thornton, silence. One more interruption and you'll be held in contempt.
The children huddled closer in the gallery, their mother's sharp voice still ringing in the wooden space.
I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because a good man gave me a chance to be a father again.
The judge removed her reading glasses, her eyes lingering on Brian's children. The room was silent.
Your Honor, the petitioner's mental state is questionable. He invited a man he hadn't seen in years onto his boat, then changed his entire estate plan at the dockside. We assert undue influence. Brian Cassidy manipulated a vulnerable older man to gain access to assets he has no right to.
Robert's attorney rose calmly and placed a single sheet of paper before the judge.
I wrote that statement myself. No one influenced those decisions except me. I've sailed oceans. I know my own mind. It was my choice to bring Brian aboard, and my choice to protect him and my grandchildren.
Pamela's eyes burned into her father, her composure cracking into something venomous.
The only fraud in this room is a daughter who filed a false police report to steal a boat she didn't earn.
The court will take a 15-minute recess before ruling.
The courtroom exhaled. Brian's children clung to their father, small fingers clutching his jacket. Pamela did not look away from the empty bench, her face carved from stone. Judge Morrison returned to the bench, her robes settling. The courtroom rose in a rustle of cloth. She did not sit immediately.
This court finds the Thornton Family Trust valid. The vessel Beneteau shall be held in trust, with Brian Cassidy and his children as trustees. Furthermore, Mr. Cassidy is granted summer custody on said vessel, effective immediately.
Brian's hands trembled on his knees. Beside him, his children let out small, uncomprehending laughs. Something had shifted.
The petitioner's evidence of a false missing person report is compelling. This court will refer the matter for further investigation.
No, that's not. You can't just give them my boat.
Her lawyer pulled her back into the chair, hissing for silence. The gavel fell once, then twice.
Order in the court. The ruling stands. This hearing is adjourned.
Robert rose slowly, his face unreadable. Brian gathered his children close, their small faces bright with confusion. Pamela sat frozen, her case in ruins, as the bailiff stamped the record with finality. The courtroom doors burst open. Robert and Brian stepped into the midday sun, the children spilling out behind them. Brian dropped to his knees and pulled his children into a tight embrace, their small laughs echoing off the stone.
We get to go sailing. A real boat. You can touch the wheel. You can ring the bell.
Robert stood a few feet away, the hard set of his jaw softening into something unfamiliar peace.
Take care of them, Brian. Summer starts now. The boat is yours as much as mine.
Brian rose and took Robert's hand in both of his. No words were needed, just a firm, grateful shake. Then the sharp click of high heels on stone sliced through the moment. Pamela strode past, her face a mask of fury. She didn't speak. Her eyes flicked once to her children, then to Robert, a look of pure, undiluted hatred. She climbed into a waiting sedan and pulled away from the curb, the engine snarling, and was gone. Brian's daughter tugged his sleeve. "Can we see the boat now?" Her small voice was full of hope. The afternoon felt brand new. 3 weeks later, another certified envelope landed on Pamela's doorstep. She tore it open with a letter opener, expecting routine paperwork. The appeal in the matter of the Thornton Family Trust is denied. The false police report entered as testimony demonstrates clear bad faith.
Bad faith? They're all against me. That boat was supposed to be mine.
Her lawyer called an hour later. His voice was stripped of courtroom polish. He told her the district attorney was moving forward with a misdemeanor charge for filing a false police report.
A misdemeanor? Because I was worried about my father? This is absurd.
He advised her to accept a plea deal. A trial would only make things worse.
Plead guilty? To a crime I didn't commit? They'll brand me forever.
She threw the letter onto the coffee table. The sailboat photo fell face down, cracking the glass. The Beneteau was out of reach. Her reputation was ruined, and the law was about to mark her with a charge she couldn't argue away. A week after the appeal denial, the Windfall left the marina under a sky so blue it hurt to look at. Robert stood behind the wheel, his granddaughter's small hands stacked beneath his. He showed her how to hold the course.
Feel the helm, Lily. Let the boat talk to you through your fingers. She'll tell you where the wind wants to go.
The girl giggled as the wheel kicked gently in her grip. Beside her, her brother clung to the coaming, eyes wide.
I haven't seen them this happy in years. You gave us all a second chance, Robert.
Robert pointed out a line of buoys marking the channel, then told a story about dolphins that once followed this very boat for 10 miles. The boy asked if they'd seen any pirates. Robert's laugh was warm and full as he promised a proper pirate tale after lunch.
Think you're ready to steer yourselves? The captain says you're natural sailors.
The brother and sister took turns at the wheel, their father standing guard, the afternoon melting into amber gold. The Beneteau sailed on, its deck no longer just a vessel, but a place where a family had been remade. That evening, the Windfall swung gently on her anchor chain, the horizon a deep orange seam between sea and sky. Below deck, Brian read a story to the children, their sleepy laughter drifting up through the open hatch. Robert stood alone at the bow, one hand resting on the forestay, his face turned toward the dying light.
She thought I'd be desperate, senile, or dead. Instead, I'm exactly where I chose to be.
The sea stretched ahead, timeless and indifferent. The boat was safe, the children were safe, and the future would not be stolen. No woman in a Navy suit, no probate petition, no false police report could touch what had been repaired here.
This is what victory feels like. Not loud, not angry, just the right people on the right boat.
A tern wheeled overhead, then tucked its wings and dove. The night came on, soft and certain. Robert turned, and through the hatch he saw Brian's silhouette, a child's head on his shoulder, a picture of ordinary grace. He stayed there a moment longer, the salt breeze on his face, then stepped inside to join them. The sea, for once, asked nothing in return.